In this section, we're going to go back to grade 8, where we're talking about surface area and volume of prisms. So first off, a prism is any 3D dimensional object, 3D object that has the same base as top. Now, typically the base and top are perpendicular to each other. Meaning they're directly over each other, but it is technically not required. So some quick definitions. Surface area is the area of each surface of a 3D object, whereas the volume is the amount of space that a 3D object takes up. Our formula that we're going to be using are some of the common ones. For example, rectangles is length times width, circles is pi multiplied by the radius squared, a triangle is base times height divided by 2, or 1/2 base times height. The surface area of a right rectangular prism is 2 multiplied by length width, add width height, add length width, or we can write it as 2 length width, add 2 width height, add 2 length height. Surface area of cylinders, 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Surface of a triangular prism would have the area of the triangles. That's why we have the triangles times by 2, because there will be 2 of them, and multiplying by the rectangular sides, or sorry, adding the rectangular sides. The volume of any prism is always the area of the base multiplied by the height. So for a rectangular prism, the base is length times width. That's why it's being multiplied by the height after. For a cylinder, the base is a circle. That's why we have pi r squared multiplied by the height. And for a triangular prism, it's the base times height divided by 2 times by the height of the actual prism. So we're going to do a whole bunch of stuff with that. First off, we're going to find out the surface area and volume of a right rectangular prism with length 11 centimeters, width 21 centimeters, and height 29 centimeters. So let's draw out our shape first. Get a whole bunch of stuff in here. I like trying to draw things three-dimensional. Now, a lot of people do have difficulties with three-dimensional objects, just for the simple fact that it's difficult to turn things around in your head. But at the same time, it's actually a concept that's done in grade 2 and grade 3 art, where you are able to analyze and look at the different views of a three-dimensional object. Okay, so I know that this is definitely not drawn to scale, but it still works. We have a length of 11 centimeters, a width of 21 centimeters, and a height of 29 centimeters. So we can use the formula, but I want to help break it down. We have a front. I'll call it 1. Well, the front is a rectangle. It has dimensions of 11 centimeters by 29 centimeters. But because the front would be the same as the back, we'd have to have 2 multiplied, let's see, the 11 is the length and the 29 is the height. So 2 times, 11 multiplied by 29. But that's not our entire surface area. We'd have to be adding the sides. So the right side, sorry, identify that that's 1. The right side and this side over here would also be the same. Now those ones are the width and height. They are also rectangles. Width is 21, height is 29. And we have a top and bottom. This one, because the top is the exact same as the bottom, you have 2 length width. Length 11, width of 21. You'll notice this entire formula is this one. The only difference is it's rearranged. It's actually written exactly backwards. But addition is addition. Doesn't matter whether you say 2 plus 3 or 3 plus 2. It's the exact same thing. All we have to do, so for our surface area, is we just have to calculate this out. So 2 by 11 by the 29, 638, which means that the front and the back would come out to be 638 centimeters squared. 2 by the 21 by 29 would be 1,218. So the right and the left, again, it's not drawn to scale, but it would have 1,218 units of area. And the top and bottom would have an area of 462. We add all of those together, 38. And our area would be 2,318 centimeters squared. So this entire area, surface area, so the area of just the surfaces, would be this. For our volume, this is a rectangular prism. Our length times width times height. Our length is 11, our width is 21, and our height is 29. (6,699) centimeters cubed. This is a review of grade 8 because area, centimeters squared, volume, centimeters cubed. Our next one is also good to use. We're going to find out the surface area and volume of this triangular prism. So first off, if we want to find out our surface area, we have a triangle, triangle, and 3 rectangles. The one thing to note on this one though, that side is the exact same as that side. So whatever that is going to be the same as that one, which means that this right and left triangles are the same. Now this is a triangular prism. As we go back to that kind of definition of a prism, it has the same base as top. Just because it's laying on its rectangular side does not mean that it's a rectangular prism. We would just have to simply tilt this shape up so it would be sitting right on our triangular base. So this is a triangular prism. And hence why you have, by grade 10, you should be able to flip a shape onto its head or onto its base in your head. So our surface area, base times height divided by 2 times by 2. I do expect that you're showing this. Yes, absolutely, you should understand that the 2's cancel off, but I need you to show me that you know that you're multiplying this by 2. If you just write down the base times height, it means that you're doing, some people treat base times height as the area of a rectangle. Well, you're not doing a rectangle, you're doing 2 triangles. I expect that you're showing that you're multiplying by 2. Now we have 3 sides, 3 rectangular sides. The good news is on this one is the same as that one. So we'd actually have 2 rectangles that would be the same, but this bottom one is different. Oh. So these ones are the sides, and this one is the bottom of what it is right now. So let's fill in what we have. The base of this triangle is 8. The height is 3. Now we've already canceled off the 2's. That's all good for me. If you want to have it calculated out as divide by 2, then times the 2, great. But showing that at least you are canceling that off is good enough for me. For these 2 rectangles here, we have, oh no, We don't have this side. Shucks. I guess we got to do some work. It's a fantastic thing, though, that it says it's a right triangle, which means we can use our Pythagorean theorem to find out what the hypotenuse would be. So A, doesn't matter whether it's a 3 or the bottom, but we can know that this entire side is 8. But because we only have the right triangle here, this side would have to be 4. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. By doing our quick Pythagorean theorem, that C side would be 5 centimeters. So now we know what our length is. Of course, I could call it length or width. It doesn't really matter. But the entire other side of that rectangle is the 12. The bottom rectangle, we're good. It's just going to be the 8 by 12. So 8 by 3 is 24. 2 by 5 by 12 should be 120. And 8 by 12 should be 96. Plugging all of that in should come out as 240 if I'm doing my math right. Let me just double check. Yep, good. So 240 centimeters squared. To find out the volume, again, it's the area of the base multiplied by the height. The base is a triangle. We have to then multiply by the height. So the base of the triangle is 8. The height of the triangle is 3, divided by 2. The height of the prism is 12. So 8 times 3 divided by 2 times 12 should work out as 144. Our units would be centimeters cubed. Let me make that actually look like a cubed. And the last type of prism that we're going to be doing is a circular prism, also known as a cylinder. Finding the surface area and volume of this one, well, the surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Each of these parts need to be identified. 2 pi r squared, well, that is the area of 2 circles. The top circle and the bottom circle. This 2 pi RH is known as the lateral surface area. The lateral surface area is this exterior part that's the curved around. So if this was, say, a tube of toilet paper, it's the actual tube of toilet paper because the ends would be open. But we just have to plug in what we have. It is identifying our diameter. Well, that means that we just have to half it to find out our radius. So 5. 2 pi. 5 is our radius. Our height is 12. 2 pi times by 5 squared. 157 point, well, around 0.08. And 2 pi multiplied by 5 multiplied by 12. 376.99. You add everything together. Okay. Yep. We get 534.07 centimeters squared. Kind of rule of thumb is do go to 2 decimal places, so I'll actually fill that in more. We'll go 1, and let's see, that part would be oh, sorry, no, this one should be the 1, 1. Oh, 796. And then when you add everything up, I would like you to round to 2 decimal places most of the time. Sometimes 1 decimal place. Usual, my rule of thumb for surface area and volume, I like doing two decimals. Now our volume is still the area of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. Well, the base is a circle, so pi r squared multiplied by the height of the prism means pi r squared, 5, multiplied by the height of it, which is 12. Pi multiplied by 25 multiplied by 12, 942.48 centimeters squared. Last example has the lateral surface area of a cylinder being 54 inches squared. We're going to determine the volume. But as I had made a mention, only this part is the surface area of a cylinder, is the lateral surface area of the cylinder. So the lateral surface area is 2 times pi times radius times the height. I see what I forgot to mention that with a height of 3 inches. Make sure I type that in. So the lateral surface area is 54 with a height of 3 inches. So the area is 54. What that will allow us to do is calculate for what r is. Because if the height is 3, we can manipulate this equation to find out what the r is. As soon as we have that, then, well, we can then find out our volume. In order to manipulate this, we would divide everything by the 2, the pi, and the 3. That would cancel all of this off. When you're plugging it into your calculator, I would certainly recommend putting all of this in brackets. Make sure you're able to do this in your calculator. So the 54 divided by all of the 2 pi, 2 times the pi times the 3, will come out as approximately 2.8648. So to find out our volume by pi multiplied by the radius squared multiplied by the height, well, we're just going to plug that into our formula. So pi multiplied by the 2.8648, squaring it, then multiplying by the height of it. Oh, sorry, it should be 3. And then we're all good. Now, using your calculator, make sure you're able to use it. We can just leave this number. It's already in my calculator. I just have to square it. So I square it, then I just have to be multiplying it by the pi, multiplying it by the 3, and I don't have to delete everything out of my calculator and then type this in. It will leave my answer to be very accurate. Oh, sorry, decimal's in the wrong spot. 0.35, and it'd be inches cubed. So make sure you're able to use your calculator properly. All right, that means you should be able to go have some fun.